Well, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, and we have a group of 9 of us that are here to go on an overland. This is the similar trip to what we did last year. We're doing it in a slightly different area today. We're going to go from Hayden, kind of north of Hayden, Garwood area, which is where we're at right now. And today on day 1, we're hoping to get to Lake Elsie. We're going to do that by going over the Burnt Knob Saddle, going into Kingston, Pinehurst, and then finally Lake Elsie. So should be a fun trip. It's a little cooler than it was last year. Last year was 105 on the day we left. This year it's mid 80s, and it's supposed to be windy today, so that'll help some. So we've got a big group. Daryl's going to be running tail again, and he's also going to split the group because part of the group's going to split when we get towards Pine Creek, and they're going to run a more technical trail, and the other half of us are going to head over to Lake Elsie. Our quick meeting, get the radios, everybody on the radios, get the car numbers. We've got all that. We're starting to get this down pretty good. We're all going to get loaded and get headed out of here. All right, we're at our first stop. We're here at the intersection of 434 and 202. One of the cool things about these overlanding trips, even though we're not stopping here, is finding gems like this. This is a killer little camp spot right here, kind of in the middle of this area. Plenty of rooms for tents. They got a fire pit. There's some firewood. So I always try to mark these and waypoint them in Onyx while I'm going there. And then if we're ever looking for, say, a spot that we want to stop overlanding, I know where some good ones are. The next plan is to take 434 and try and get up to Monument Mountain. I've never been up there, but it looks like it's got a super cool view. And then from there, we'll be dropping down into Kingston. All right, so we made it up to the top of this mountain. This is 902 that we took off 434. I believe, according to Onyx, this is Monument Mountain, but this view is spectacular. This is one of the things we try to do on these trips, is just find these little offshoots that we can run up to and see what they're like. Sometimes they don't pan out, and sometimes, like this one, they pan out well. There is a decent amount of parking over on this side of the tower. Just be aware that if you do have a larger group, you're probably going to be pushing the limits of being able to park up here and such. Well, we stopped here. This is the base of 434 902 that went up to Monument. We had some lunch. There's also a whole bunch of huckleberries. So if you're looking for a place to pick some huckleberries, right up 902, there was tons and tons. Sarah and Kevin went and got about half a Ziploc baggie full of them. So now we're going to continue on 434. This is what is going to eventually drop us in. We're going to come down in by Albert's Landing, and then we'll hit the road into Kingston.
Car 6 rolling out slowly.
Car 7 rolling out.
We kind of took a detour down a less maintained trail. Had to cut a couple things on that one. Definitely could have stayed on the main road. I didn't realize there was a Y there, and the main road was to the left and we went to the right. I'll see if I can put a marker here, but it was definitely fun, but way more dense. There's a couple newer rigs with this that would probably prefer not to go on that one, but it's gonna give you this view. This is a beautiful view. I think that's I-90 and Cataldo right there. So this would be like 4th of July over to our right, and Kingston is over here. So we're gonna go over this, and hopefully we should be down to Kingston soon. Fleet car stopped. There's a moose and a little calf in the road up here, trying to not spook them. Roger that. All right, well, we did a quick stop here in Kingston at the 76. A couple went over the bridge. There's a couple more gas stations over there. They were looking for non-ethanol premium in their machine, so we're gonna run over I-90, go grab them. Then we're gonna go up French Gulch and cut back down around and come back into Pine Creek. The reason why we're having to do that is the bridge on the frontage road that was, it's maybe a mile or two at most to get into Pinehurst from Kingston. The only road to go over that bridge that goes over the creek right there is started construction yesterday. So it's down for like a month. So we're gonna have to probably do about a 10-mile diversion up through Pine Creek rather than just jumping over to Pinehurst and going up. So that's one of the things I learned when Daryl and I were here Sunday, is sometimes it's good to talk to the locals and look up stuff to see, because that would have been real weird to get over there and not been able to get anywhere and then had to plan it. So we knew in advance, planned it, and now hopefully it won't take us as long. We split off from the other group, and we're on top of Silver Mountain right now. Check out this view that everybody else sees. Well, we're going to continue on to Lake Elsie, and we'll see you there. All right, well, we split up back at Highland Creek. We had kind of debated on whether we were going to camp there or not, and we decided to come over to Lake Elsie. So we're at Lake Elsie, we're set up. We've got 3 campgrounds here. There's a bunch of people who actually just wanted to camp right down on the water. So we've got that. Brian's getting his set up. I haven't really got much video, but Brian's got this super cool trailer that he pulls behind his rig. And he's got a generator, tables, and all kinds of stuff in there, including a Blackstone. So we're gonna go cook some hamburgers and hot dogs and get some food for everybody, because I know I'm hungry, and I think several other people are starting to get a little hangry too. Probably jump in the lake before the sun goes down. You can see it, it's definitely starting to get there. But we're over here at Lake Elsie. I'll take you over to the actual shore. There's a whole bunch of campgrounds here. So like, this is one of the campgrounds. This is kind of a mixed campground boat launch here. and you can see, like, you can camp right on there. There's people down over there that have camped as well, but man, it is gorgeous. There's camping over there as well. It looks like somebody probably started a little campfire over there, but just kind of giving you a peek of the lake itself. I think some of us are going to jump in the lake and probably wash up a bit. It was definitely a dusty ride. This is probably one of the dustiest overlandings I've done in 4 or 5 years. So we'll probably jump in there. Looks like Brian's getting food and the grill going so we can get some grub going. And then we're probably just going to chill by the fire. So that's probably it for tonight. Won't be videoing any more tonight. Tomorrow we're going to figure out if we want to stay here again or if we want to continue up towards the Pritchard area and you know, just kind of play it by ear. So we will see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It was certainly an eventful night last night. We had some visitors last night. There was a moose and her calf that came through camp right through and then kind of went back, and they wanted to sort of nest behind us. There, it looks like there's some huckleberries or raspberries or something. And so they were in here. And then last night I was sleeping on that side of the tent and they literally walked right by. You could totally feel and hear walking right through here as I'm laying there. That was a little on the interesting side. And so they went over and they went in the water and they went over and visited some other people. It was quite an interesting experience. So we had seen a couple moose on the way here in that same scenario and had to wait a bit for them to finally move off the road. So being literally inches from them was a little bit of a different experience than being 20 feet from them on a trail in a side-by-side. So it's the morning. We've decided we're going to head up north and not stay here for a second day. Has nothing to do with the moose. We made that last night. We did get some food set up last night. Thank you, Brian, for cooking and taking care of that. A bunch of us jumped in the lake and washed up to get cleaned up and everything. So one of the things we do on the overlanding trips is we take our air filters out. This has probably been one of the dustiest ones that we've had. So in mine, I have the big box that goes in the back, and unfortunately it's kind of a bear to get out. Brad helped me get it out. I cleaned mine out, so not too bad. It actually wasn't too bad. Daryl and Brad were towards the back because the 4 of them had peeled off, and so the 4 that peeled off we had put in the back. So Brad's got a similar setup as mine. It's the non-turbo. These are pretty much both the exact same beds, but Daryl's got a Pro R4. And if you watched our Overland last year, we had a fun little video of blowing out his air filter when we had gotten back to Pierce. So we're gonna pull his out, and holy, did you clean this out before you came back from St. Anthony's?
I did.
So this was clean as of yesterday.
Yeah, I blew it out before we
So I don't.
Are you gonna right? That's just the air box.
That's just the air box. So let's go see what. Let's go see what Brad's filter looks like. So we'll get over here and.
Hopefully it's not as bad.
That's about like mine. It's not terrible, but I mean, there's a lot of dirt. And then there's Daryl's.
And there's Daryl.
Somebody needs to invest in an SMB particle separator. You saw how much dust came out of there, and then how much dust came out of his air filter. So that's why it's super important on these trips to clean out your air filters. We were actually having a little bit of a problem. I'm guessing it was a combination of the heat and dust as we were coming up these last couple of legs up here to Lake Elsie. The Turbo S was really not performing well. I'd step on the gas and it actually wouldn't go much, and it actually would go less. And so I'm thinking my air filter was kind of clogged. I might have a bad fuel pump. I've been kind of debating on that. Sarah from Vision UTV actually brought an extra fuel filter because Brad had to replace his, and mine's been kind of iffy these last couple of trips. So if we have to replace that, at least we do have that, and that's not a difficult swap to do. But we're gonna get this put back together. Hopefully it'll be running better. Yesterday was a long trip. We ended up having to route around from Kingston to Pinehurst because that bridge was down, and then there was a barrier at one of our routes, so we had to kind of almost go loop around roller coaster. If you watched our video a couple back, we went to Denver Creek, and after Denver Creek, we actually were trying to get to roller coaster. It was closed, and so we kind of went and explored up kind of west of Pine Creek, and that's exactly where we came down. Daryl actually saw it that we had been there, and so we were able to kind of maneuver and get over there and finally get back to Pinehurst, because it was kind of a mess. So all that planning that Brad and Daryl and I did wasn't super helpful, because in the end there were still more issues that we had to deal with. So that's why a lot of planning goes into these trips, just to try and make it as smooth as possible. But you're always going to have problems. So we're going to get camp packed up, get everything put back together, get on the road, and get over to Wallace. Well, we had a really good night camping at Lake Elsie. It was definitely a little bit of trials and tribulation getting there, as I mentioned earlier. We had some visitors. The moose, we were recounting that at our little group meeting. The moose and her calf definitely visited about half the tents looking for some cuddle buddies or something, not quite sure, but we all got packed up and we're heading out. So this is Big Creek Road, which is the main access in and out of Lake Elsie. This is how we came in. The other group came in off of a slightly different path that was a little more challenging, and some of the rigs, especially like with the bigger, wider, taller rigs, or the trailer, didn't want to go that way. So pretty good road. There are some rough spots. It's about eight and a half miles from I-90 to here. It does get narrow in some spots, so bringing an RV or something up here would definitely be interesting, but we see them all the time. There was one camped right next to us. So if you've got one, you can do it. You just might have to be patient and careful. All right, well, we stopped by Mitchell's over in Osborn. They have a really good store. Grab some food, grab some supplies, and we're here at the Conoco in Wallace. If you watched our overlanding video from last year, this is literally the exact same spot we took off from. We had staged over there and came here and got everybody together and then shot up. So we're getting together. We're trying to find a camp spot. We have one that we're thinking about, but we might kind of go over and see what like Devil's Elbow or Big Hank or one of them is, and actually get into another another real camp. So we're gonna head out. We go up by the RV park and we're gonna go up a bit and then we turn in on a forest road, and that's gonna wiggle us all the way up to the North Fork of the Coeur d'Alene. And there we're going to, if the sun will ever make an appearance, we might jump in, swim, and then make a final decision on where we want to camp tonight. So let's get everybody together and get on the road. So coming out of Wallace, you go by city limits, you go up about 3-4 miles on pavement. So then when it does its first curve to the right, you stay straight on pavement and you go that way a bit, that turns into a dirt road, and that's where we're on now. We're about halfway to where we're going to be stopping for a swim hole. Every once in a while we like to come around these corners and take a pause. Ian, who I've overlanded with a couple of times and kind of got me into overlanding, would come on the radio when we'd come around one of these and go, "That view certainly doesn't suck." And he's right. When we did the Clark Fork to Lolo Hot Springs a couple of years ago with them, he wanted to do this Wallace to Clark Fork because he said this is one of the better views of the whole Idaho BDR. And we're gonna see a couple more. I'm hoping either today or tomorrow we'll hit Cougar Peak and Grassy Mountain, which has some views similar to this and even better.
You make the moment. You get the feeling.